Hi there, and welcome to a Let's Type episode from the Commodore 64 Appreciation Society. This is a series where I type out a program from an old computer magazine, and then when I finish typing it in, I play it. The Obsidian Spire is a big type-in. Almost 600 lines of basic code, 53 blocks on disk, and it took me almost 2.5 hours to type it in. And it's based on a 1981 board game that featured Orson Welles in its commercial. But as much fun as the Obsidian Spire is to play, the gameplay isn't my favorite thing about it at all. It's the code, because this is one of the most thoughtfully structured programs I've ever typed in. The code is simple but elegant, and it was genuinely fun to follow along as the game gradually assembled itself. In fact, typing this one in felt less like entering a program and more like uncovering a story. I'm excited to show this one off. Let's get typing. The Obsidian Spire was written by Edwin Nagel for the New Compute's Gazette magazine. This one appeared in the February 2026 issue, so it's a brand new game. And Edwin isn't just the coder for this one, he's also the owner and publisher of the New Gazette, which was launched last July. The Gazette of the 80s was strictly about Commodore computers, and primarily focused on the 64. But a few things have changed in the last 40 years, and our favorite computer isn't quite the center of the universe anymore. So, the New Gazette covers a wider range of classic systems, while also focusing on the modern retro computing community. I've been a subscriber since issue 2, and I found it to be a nice mix of nostalgia and current news. And no, this isn't a paid advertisement. I just really enjoy it. The Obsidian Spire is based on a 1981 board game called Dark Tower, and I remember it well. Not from the game itself, but from the TV commercial. For 10-year-old me, this was about the coolest thing imaginable. A fantasy board game with an electronic brain in the middle of the board that looked like a medieval tower. It looked awesome. And it was narrated by Orson Welles. I mean, I barely knew who he was back then, but you've got to admit, that's pretty cool. Developed by Milton Bradley, the game itself is a blend of strategy and resource management for up to 4 players. To win, you need to build an army, find 3 keys, and ultimately defeat the evil force lurking inside the tower. Along the way, you'll manage food, hire allies, battle dragons, and deal with a variety of random encounters. But the coolest part was that it was controlled by a computer. For 1981, this was impressive technology. The tower's 2K computer tracked resources, managed turns, and handled battles and encounters. And even better, for my 10-year-old brain, it played sounds and displayed images that changed based on what was happening in the game. Extremely cool. The game sold well, and Games Magazine named it one of the best games of 1981. But its success was short-lived. Milton Bradley was eventually sued by 2 inventors who claimed the company had used their ideas inappropriately. Milton Bradley ultimately lost the case in 1985, and by then the game's moment had largely passed. But it's still a fascinating piece of gaming history. And now we're reliving it with the Obsidian Spire in 2026. This type-in is huge. Quite possibly the largest I've ever entered. At almost 600 lines of basic, it's certainly one of the most ambitious. Interestingly, the checksums in the magazine don't match the checksums generated by the automatic proofreader. Fortunately, Compute's Gazette sent me an updated set by email, so I'm typing this one in from my iPad rather than directly from the magazine. I have posted the updated checksums on the Discord in case you're interested in typing it in yourself. But that minor snafu aside, this has been a really enjoyable program to enter. Edwin included lots of comments throughout the code, and typing it in almost feels like reading a story. And more than that, it feels like it was written to be understood. It's clearly structured, carefully documented code from someone who wants you to learn from it, play with it, and even change it. As a perfect example, I'm currently working through the inventory section, and all the concepts feel familiar because they've already been introduced and explained. Warriors, gold, food, scouts, and healers are all familiar concepts now, and seeing them come together in the inventory feels like watching the game gradually assemble itself. It's really cool when a program is structured like this. One thing that also stands out to me is the sound design. Edwin clearly put a lot of effort into it. Most actions have their own sound effect, there's ambient music on the title screen, and overall, it feels more ambitious than the audio in most type-in games. I can't wait to hear what they sound like. The game also includes a randomized riddle that the player must solve through trial and error. The way it's implemented is quite elegant, and because it's such an important part of the game, I thought it was worth taking a closer look. I keep saying this code is approachable. Let me show you what I mean. In the Obsidian Spire, you need to collect 3 keys, brass, silver, and gold. Once you have all 3, you'll be able to enter the Spire, where you'll be presented with a riddle that can be solved by guessing the order of those keys. As with the rest of the code, the way this is solved is well structured and easy to understand. In fact, if you're hoping for some complicated code here, you're going to be disappointed. Instead, it's a lesson in elegant and simple design, and that's exactly why I like it. Let's dive in. There are 6 possible permutations of the keys, and one is selected at the beginning of the game. The key value is stored in the variable KO string, and they look like this. This is it. This is the end game. It isn't stored in a lookup table or determined through some complicated algorithm. It's just 6 permutations in one string. When you find a key during gameplay, the game tracks them by setting a second set of variables to 1. Once all 3 are set to 1, the Obsidian Spire becomes available as an option in the menu, and then it's time to start guessing the order of the keys. The game takes your 3 responses, which are either B, S, or G, and combines them into AN string. If that value matches KO string, the door is unlocked and you can fight the final horde to win the game. It's a simple mechanism for handling a potentially complicated scenario. The end puzzle is reduced to a 3-letter string and a single if statement. I knew exactly what was happening as I was typing it in, and that feels very much in the spirit of classic basic programming. Cool, right? Did I mention this was a big type-in? Because it was a big type-in. I've been at it for about 2.5 hours now, and I'm just finishing things up. The final sections of the code include all the sounds used in the game, and each one is very much a standalone piece. In fact, each could easily be copied directly and used in another program, which is always one of the best parts of typing one of these in. I've actually taken a couple of the sounds and posted them in the Basic Bits channel of our Discord, so feel free to drop by and grab them for your own use. Or download the entire game. The link is in the description. And done. Now to save it. And wow, yeah, 53 blocks, or just a bit over 13K. This is easily one of the biggest, if not the biggest, type-in I've done so far. But even better, every line checked out with the proofreader, so we should have a fully working game here. I'm excited to play. Let's go. Alright, here we are. Oh, and check out that background music. Very atmospheric. Okay, let's start with level 1. And nice. So here we are in Arisalon, one of the 4 kingdoms in the game. The first kingdom doesn't have a key, but it's probably a good idea to explore it to get our bearings and to build up resources. We can see that I start with 10 warriors, 30 gold, and 25 food, and we're currently at the bottom left of the 4x4 grid. Simple interface, and it's clever how the game tracks each location you visited and also knows where you are. Okay, let's move to the east. Another nice sound effect. The code refers to this one as footsteps. I can see that my food went down by 2, so I'll definitely need to buy some more if I want to support a large army. And my score is 130. I'm not really sure what that means right now, actually. But speaking of warriors and food, let's buy a bit more, which we can do at the bazaar. Okay, all stocked up. East again. Ugh, plague. That sucks. There are negative events that can randomly happen on each square, like getting attacked by a dragon or experiencing a plague. If I had a healer in my party, which I can buy at the bazaar, I wouldn't be affected by the plague at all, and in fact would have gained warriors. You can search the ruins and the tomb at each location. Sometimes you'll find gold, sometimes you'll get attacked, and sometimes nothing. Oh, brigands. And a lot of them. I don't feel like I'll win this fight, so run away! Oh, 3 warriors down. Fortunately, each location has a sanctuary that will boost your inventory if you have low stats. Which I do. Oh, cool, a dragon. Far less cool, it took all my gold and one of my warriors. $20 gold, nice. That tomb paid off, which will let me buy a healer. And another fight? Only 7 of them? I can take them. Oh man, yeah. I beat them, but lost a ton of warriors. And now I'm lost, which costs me food. Having a scout prevents that. Here we go. Ha! Wumped him. And here's my inventory. I feel like I'm doing pretty good here, and we can see that I've searched most of the first map. So, after a bit more exploring, I headed to the next area, which is Brinthia. I'm still not really sure what's going on with the score. I'll need to look into the code to see how it's calculated. And here's what happens if you offend the shop owner when trying to haggle. Okay, so we'll keep moving. And another fight. 12 versus 8? No problem. Okay, maybe a problem. Oh no. Damn. Geez, that was abrupt. I guess no Obsidian Spire for me. Okay, let's try this again. I feel like I have the gist of the game now. So I'm in the first area, Arsalan, and I've been using the haggling feature every time I go to the bazaar. The benefit of cheaper prices far outweighs the risk of getting banned. And I'm doing well. I have lots of food and 14 warriors. I also have a scout, but no healer yet, which sucked when I ran into a plague. But using the sanctuary is super helpful and keeps my army at a strong level. In fact, falling to 8 or 9 warriors in a fight is fine, because a quick visit to the sanctuary gets me right back. I'm guessing that the sanctuary is less valuable on higher skill levels, but right now it's great. After a bit more grinding, I was able to get a healer and my army's in good shape. That feels good. Time to start looking for those keys. Which I haven't found yet, but I found lots of gold and ran into a couple more dragons. I'm trying to keep an army of at least 15 now. I don't know how many I'll need for later, but that seems like a good number. And hey, check it out, my first key. Cool. Let's go to the next area. Which is Durnan. So, right now, I feel like I'm right into the rhythm of the game. Get into a fight, replenish my warriors, and hopefully find some gold along the way. It's a really fun game loop, actually, and it's really helped by the clear interface. And the sound effects, I mean, they're just great. And nice, look at this, the silver key. Alright, now we're cooking. On to the final area, which is Xenon. Also, check out the score now. 469 seems pretty good. I looked into the code, and it's a calculation based on my warriors and food, plus 100 points for each key I have. Oh, and speaking of key, here we go. So I have all three now, and sure enough, the Obsidian Spire is showing up on the menu. Cool, so this is what I showed in the code spotlight. The game has a secret code, and there are 6 combinations, so it's a matter of systematically going through each one. So it's not SBG. We'll keep wandering the map and checking the spire. Next up, silver, gold, brass. Nope. Brass, silver, gold. Nope. BGS. Nope. Come on, 2 more combos. Gold, silver, brass. Oh, sweet, got it. And the spire has opened. Oh, we're fighting. I don't know what we're fighting, but we're fighting. Oh, 27 to 15? Piece of cake. Oh man. Come on. Unbelievable. Woohoo! I made it with 1 left. And victory. Oh, that's interesting. Right before the final battle, my score was almost 600, but the victory screen only shows 22. Looking through the code, the regular score indicates bonuses for your keys, while the final score is only based on your remaining resources. Since I barely survived with a single warrior, that's actually not an impressive score at all. And that fight, I can't believe how close it was. But really, what a terrific game. A 1981 game reproduced by a 1982 computer from a type-in in a 2026 magazine. Crazy, but so much fun. Edwin, if you're watching, you did a great job coding this. It was fun to type in, but it's way more fun to play. I'm looking forward to trying this again at higher skill levels. And a reminder that if you'd like to download it, it's available on the Discord. Check it out, the link's in the description. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And if you have any thoughts about the Obsidian Spire, Compute's Gazette, or any other type-ins, I'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments. Hope to see you again.